Welcome, everyone. We might start this period of meditation by just taking a moment to check in, see what's there in the body and what's there in the mind. Could be pleasant or unpleasant. Could be tension, could be ease. Thoughts could be whirling, or there could be stillness. Emotions could be coming and going. Everything is okay. It's just checking in. None of that needs to change. Attitude is just to be present with what's there. And you might also take a few deep breaths. Relaxing on the exhale, letting the body sink into the seat. You could take as many of those as you like. When it feels good to you, you might let the attention rest very gently on the breath, the tip of the nose. Just very lightly. The attitude is of receiving. Breath arises all on its own. All you need to do is watch. You might check to see what your attitude towards the breath is and see if any amount of tenderness or gentleness can be brought to attention. Also relaxing into this meditation. Very soft. Perhaps you might see if you can relax just a bit more. Gently, gently. And when we continue to let attention rest on the breath at the tip of the nose, we might let awareness open a bit. Let the phenomena of the world around us come into awareness. The sounds, sights, the other bodily sensations, thoughts, mental phenomena. All those can come and go in awareness. Just held very gently, letting them come and go as they please. And if you notice, these phenomena are constantly coming and going. Nothing is stable. It's just this flow, the flow phenomena arising and passing away. If it feels good to you, you might try and let go of any doing and simply surrender into this flow. The phenomena will arise and pass away without your intervention. There's nothing that's needed for you to do here. You can simply surrender and exist. Enjoy that freedom, not having to control the world. And just be present. What a gift. What a gift. Nothing needs to be done. In this flow of phenomena, the body is often present. Thoughts or other mental phenomena are often present. Sense of being an agent or a chooser, someone who directs the flow of experience, is often present. These are just more phenomena rising and passing away. No different, no different than anything else. And if it feels okay to you, you might see if any control over the body or the mind can be relinquished. You might see if those phenomena can just arise and pass away on their own as they please. Freedom is found in letting go. There's nothing that needs to be done. Just let go. And as this meditation comes to a close, you might take the last minute to appreciate the benefits of our practice in our lives and in the lives of those around us. I have a couple of announcements tonight before we start. On August 16th through the 18th, there's a retreat, Dhamma. And there's information for this on the website. And on October 5th, there's the autumn gathering, which I think some of you guys have attended in the past. It should be a nice thing to go to. Information for that is on the website as well. So tonight I'd like to talk about our journey, our path through the Dhamma. Our direct experience of the present moment is always this flow of phenomena that I was trying to point to in the meditation. But this flow of phenomena is something that we can see from different perspectives. And that different perspective we have on our life, on this flow of phenomena, makes all the difference in the world in our lived experience. You can characterize our journey in many different ways, but what I want to talk about tonight is how our journey is a path through three of these different perspectives to the end of suffering. When I say our path, I mean everyone, not just people on this call or Buddhists or spiritual folks, but everyone. Everyone is following the same path. Everyone is on the same journey. And it might seem a little strange to think that you can make this kind of blanket statement when human beings are so very diverse, but our journey is a function of what we are. It's a function of how we are built as human beings. The example I have is, imagine if you told me that you had a boulder on top of a hill. You told me that you pushed that boulder off. I could tell you what would happen to that boulder without knowing anything about it, about its shape or about the kind of layout or geography of the hill, I could tell you that it would roll downhill. In the same way, human beings have a particular shape to them, I suppose would be the word, that gives them a trajectory through life. And this is something that we all share. You can think of human beings as having two capabilities, or two functions, perhaps. On the one hand, there's a desire to move away from suffering. Now, on the other hand, we have the capability to understand the world, to find patterns and things, and to see how the world works. So these are the kind of two capabilities that are inherent to human beings. And so when a human being is born into the world and experiences this flow of phenomena, what happens, or this is just one way to understand things. I guess the details are not especially important. This is just one way to understand things. When this human being sees this flow of phenomena and starts to notice resistance to some of the things that are arising, it starts to see patterns in the world. It starts to see, for example, when the broccoli phenomena arises, it notices aversion to the broccoli, and it sees that happen, and it makes the pattern, or notices the pattern that I am this being that has aversion to broccoli. You might do the same thing with ice cream and notice that I am this being that likes ice cream, and so on and so forth, until we have this this very robust and well-built sense of self that we're very familiar with. This is the first of the three perspectives that I want to talk about, the perspective of being a separate self. And in this perspective, the flow of phenomena is the mind tries to divide it, to section it out into two categories. One portion of this flow is comprised of, from this viewpoint, comprised of this body and this mind and this feeling of being an agent or a chooser, and everything else in the flow is in this other bucket, this other. So there's a division between self, this body and this mind, and other. And what happens is that the self takes on the pattern of trying to control the self to be the way it understands it to be the way it wants to be. And it tries to control the world as well. So there's a flavor of control to this flow of phenomena. And that's a precarious position to be in terms of your happiness, because when you're seeing the world from this perspective, you're only happy when the world meets your expectations of how it should be. And sometimes that happens, but often it doesn't. So often you're unhappy, you're upset, and there's suffering. And so, our innate desire for less suffering compels us to find a new viewpoint, find a way out of this. And we're able to see the patterns in the world, to find a new way of seeing things that's better. So we practice and we see what there is to be seen, and we come to a different viewpoint. We see that this division, that this artificial division between self and other, is something that can be let go of. The mind sees that this is not helping anything, this provides no benefit, and it stops doing it. And when that division falls away and that personal sense of self goes away, the understanding that can be present is that this thing that I am, this I, is everything that exists. I want to take a slight digression here. I've had the experience of people talking to me about this other viewpoint, and finding myself quite confused. I remember having the experience of like, this is me. I'm very certain that this is me, this body and this mind. And somebody is telling me that I'm something else. I'm not separate from this world, and I'm the whole world. And that didn't make sense to me for a very long time. want to offer this as an analogy. I have this lovely glass here, and from your perspective, the way you perceive this glass is as a rectangle, right? You just see the front of it, and so I could talk to you about this glass as a kind of tall rectangle, short on the bottom and long on the sides, and that would make sense and be intelligible to somebody who had no other experience of this glass. But if I were to start talking about this glass as something as like a wide rectangle, long on the bottom and short on the sides, that might be very confusing for somebody who didn't have any idea of what this was. But I would just be doing this, of course. I'd be talking about the same object from a different perspective, and that's what people do when they're talking from these other perspectives. They're not like it's not saying anything different about this glass to talk about it as a tall rectangle or a wide rectangle. In the same way, it's not saying anything different about this this thing that you are by talking about it from these different perspectives. It's just a different perspective. It's not the metaphysics of the thing. I hope that was helpful. I think that would have been helpful to my past self, which drives a lot of what I say. So coming back to the second perspective as this expanded understanding of the sense of self. This is much better. We've set down this great burden of being in control of the world and trying to have it have it the way we want it. This is very lovely. And the experience of the flow changes. It's not any longer something that comes from me and that I'm trying to control. It's the flow of conditionality. The present moment is seen to come from previous moments. Previous moments condition the present, and the present conditions future moments. So this is very good and very lovely, but there's still a division here. There's still a division between existence and non-existence. And so there's still, room for some kind of fear around existence ending. And so our desire for less suffering kind of compels us further to find a different perspective. And we can see the patterns in the world for this different perspective. And so we practice and we see what there is to be seen. And we can see that this division between existence and non-existence can fall away. Non-existence can be encompassed into existence, and there's this wholeness to the thing. Yes, I have in my mind the Chinese symbol of yin and yang that encompasses the positive and the negative. When they're both together, there's a wholeness. When you just have one, when you just have the positive, there's something missing. And so there's a peace and a wholeness here from this perspective. And the sense of the flow phenomena changes too. Whereas in the beginning, it was something that comes from me and that I need to control. In the second perspective, it was the flow of conditionality, past to present, present to future. In the third perspective, the flow changes. It's the flow of creation. It's the flow from non-existence to existence. And the felt sense of that flow is something special. It's the understanding that the motion from non-existence to existence is understood to be a great gift. The analogy I have for that is, imagine as you're sitting here, someone gives you a great bouquet of flowers. The movement, the change from having no flowers to having these lovely flowers, that's a gift. And when you're understanding the world in terms of non-existence and existence, this present moment, this existence, becomes a gift. Not just a small gift. When you're comparing it to non-existence, existence, this experience in the present moment, is the greatest gift you could possibly be given. More than that, it's just a gift that's given freely. There's no strings. There's no requirements on you to do anything with this present moment. It's just given. It's just given to you. And a gift given freely is an act of kindness. So the world is understood as a manifestation of kindness. This present moment is a manifestation of kindness. Your life is a manifestation of kindness. When I say that, I'm not being flowery with my words. I'm not being metaphorical from that viewpoint. And again, it's just I'm not saying anything different about the flow of experience. It's just another way to see the flow. When you see it from this way, existence becomes a manifestation of kindness in a very concrete way. In the same way that this writing desk beside me is made of wood. And this body and this mind that appear in existence, they too are made with kindness. And when this perspective is present, the way they manifest in the world can bring forth nothing other than kindness. The voice speaks with kindness. The thoughts are directed to kindness. The body moves with kindness. It can be no different. What you are in this perspective is you are the voice of this universal kindness that is a part of everyone. You are the mouthpiece for this greater thing. You are kindness manifesting itself. So this is our journey, these three perspectives. This is the path of awakening. And we're all on this path. So our day-to-day reality is a bit different. I kind of laid it out as a linear thing, 1 to 2 to 3. Where you are in any given moment is much different. You know, we've all had the experience of one day being very open, and the next day being caught in a country western song, and your truck breaks down, and your dog dies, and your girlfriend leaves you, and you know all this suffering that pulls you back into this sense of separate self. And so it's like that. There's a ebb and flow, but in broad strokes, over time, our path is this path of changing perspectives. I really like this way of seeing the world for, I think it's for several different reasons. Some of them that come to mind is I really like the simplicity of the thing. Like this, I was really enjoying going over this in my head, just like the idea that like this is enlightenment here, the shift from the shift, just that movement, that seeing the world differently. Because in one sense, you can talk about the path as something that's a lot of effort, you know. One analogy is the walk up the mountain, and that's fair and that's fine and that's true. But it's also very simple. And I think it's good to put that simplicity out there because it makes it more accessible. You know, the Buddha is often spoken about in terms that make him seem very grand and special. You know, I have in my mind now I remember hearing about the Buddha's enlightenment, where he sits under the Bodhi tree, and Mara sends his, you know, this is often spoken about in very flowery ways. You know, Mara sends his demons to, you know, prevent the Buddha from his enlightenment, and you know, fear and anger and desire and all these things get sent to the Buddha, and the Buddha kind of touches the ground and says no. And I remember hearing that and thinking, you know, wow, this Buddha must have this great willpower to resist all these temptations, and that's certainly not something I could do. but it's just that simple. It's just a change of perspective. And from one perspective, these temptations are these great things. But from another perspective, they're not temptations at all. They're just arising and passing. I also like this way of understanding the path because it really opens the heart. I said that everyone is on this path, and that's how I understand it. Of course, many folks don't understand that they're on the path, and um, many folks get stuck in that first stage, this viewpoint of the separate self. But everyone is on this path. Everyone has the potential to awaken. This is true of you. This is true of you, of the people that you love and the people that you're close to, and maybe people you're not so close to, and also people that you may not like or may not like you. And it's really easy to kind of push aside people that you don't like and just kind of ignore them or whatever, just not acknowledge their humanity. But when you see that they're on this path too, and they have this same great potential as you do to awaken, to be this voice of kindness in the world, I think dealing with difficult people becomes very different, because now it's no longer just this difficult person. It's this person has the potential to wake up and to be this force for good in the world. And your task there becomes just to do what you can to get them unstuck and do this wonderful thing for the world. Reminded of the story of Angulimala, who you may know, but he was, I think the name literally means something like necklace of fingers. And he was, at one point in his life, not a very nice person. He killed many people, and he tried to kill the Buddha too. And Buddha, being the Buddha, knew the right words to say. And Angulimala eventually started studying under the Buddha and eventually became an arhat. So he became this great force for good in the world too. Finally, I hope this way of seeing the world is motivating. The viewpoints that I spoke about they're viewpoints, but they're very real. You can see the world in this way, and they're very powerful. I have the great good fortune to have been able to spend time with somebody who, from my perspective at least, spends much of his life in that third perspective. And I guess the way I would describe him is that you cannot be in his presence without feeling loved. You can't. And I've never seen him not be able to have that effect on someone. It's that powerful. He's just able to put out unconditional love into the world. And it's such a gift. There's so much healing that needs to be done in the world, and we just give that out. This is what we all want with our life, to live in that viewpoint as much as we can. I have the analogy of my eyes are not very good, so I go to the optometrist every year. And for those of you who go to the optometrist, be familiar with this contraption of lenses that they have that you like put in front of your face, and they have different lenses and they flip them in, and they'll ask you like which one is better. And I had the thought that, if like that's the very kind of literal changing of viewpoints, but I had the thought if that you could do the kind of metaphorical version of that, and give somebody the ability to see the world from these three viewpoints. I'm completely convinced that not one person, all 8 billion of us, would choose the third perspective. I'm completely convinced. I could not be more convinced. That's what we want. So in any given moment, there's two paths forward. There's one path, the path of the Dharma, that leads to that viewpoint, to living in that viewpoint. There's another path towards towards gratifying the self, the default path that the world gives us. Like that's how the world tells us to be happy. Sometimes following the Dhamma, you see absurdities in the way that we humans live in the world. To me, to look at somebody who spends their life gratifying the desires of the self, that's absurd. I mean, no unkindness to anyone. It's whether or not somebody walks that path it's just a function of conditions and says nothing about their worth as a person. But it's a waste. It's a waste to spend your life that way when you could be on the path of liberation, sharing kindness with others. So it's completely worth it to orient your life towards the Dhamma, towards finding your way to these higher perspectives. I'll close here by saying that you have this innate potential to bring a great deal of kindness and light to a world that really needs it sometimes. And it just doesn't make sense to do anything else to me. I think that's all I'll end. Thank you for being here.